It's not a dumb question because this is a term that gets thrown around a lot, and I think that it's one of those military terms that I think can obscure a little more than it explains. When people say a tactical nuke, what they're talking about is less a difference in the type of weapon we're talking about than what it's used for. A tactical nuclear weapon is one that's used on a military target to gain some advantage on the battlefield. It's one that's used to attack, say, an aircraft carrier or an airfield or a column of tanks. A strategic nuclear weapon, which is the other kind people are talking about, usually targets a civilian target, and it's usually an attack on the opponent's whole society rather than just their military. The type of nuclear attack that we think of, the bombing of a city like Hiroshima, or the kind of scenario people were worried about in the Cold War, where the Soviet Union and the US were launching nuclear-armed missiles at each other, those are strategic attacks. I think there's generally an assumption that these are small, or that the damage they would cause is more containable. That's a little misleading. The explosion from the Hiroshima bomb was about 15 kilotons equivalent of TNT, so the equivalent of 15 kilotons of TNT exploding. There are some smaller ones in Russia's arsenal, for instance, but those are around 10 kilotons. And if 10 kilotons doesn't sound very big to you, keep in mind that the explosion last year that destroyed much of downtown Beirut after there was a fertilizer explosion in the port in that city, that was less than 1 kiloton. So we're talking orders of magnitude larger than that. These are big bombs. What people are worried about is that Russia has the capability to load these sort of smaller weapons onto ground-based artillery, and could conceivably fire them at a target in Ukraine. Now, the thing we have to keep in mind is people are worried about a tactical nuclear strike on Ukraine. There aren't really tactical targets in Ukraine. There aren't kind of big tank columns, big aircraft carriers. I suppose one could bomb an airfield, but if we saw nuclear weapons use in Ukraine, and I don't think that's likely to happen, but it's possible, it would be more a kind of strategic use case. It would be more, an attack meant to demonstrate Russia's capability to intimidate Ukraine and its allies into surrender. What we have to keep in mind is that the use of any kind of nuclear weapon, no matter the size of it, would be a historic event. It would be a major shift, not just in this war, but in the history of warfare in general. And I think we have to keep in mind that if one were used, we'd really be in uncharted territory. And I think that words like tactical can kind of obfuscate exactly what we're talking about and just how significant it would be.